I went over there after I got off work, and I was there until 10 minutes before it happened, and there was, kids running around, everybody's having a good time, absolutely no indication.
On March 1st, 2011, loving parents Charles and Marilyn Long were gunned down in their own home. Their 9-year-old son and 5-year-old daughter were savagely attacked and were barely alive when first responders arrived. And scariest of all, the person responsible for the brutal attacks on the Long family walks the streets today. On the evening of March 1st, 2011, a 911 call was made from a young boy saying an intruder broke into his home and killed his family. When police arrived on the scene, they found 12-year-old Gideon Long outside. He told them that his 2 parents and his younger brother and younger sister had been killed inside the home. Police knew they had a horrible tragedy on their hands, but they had no way of knowing the twist this case was about to take, and things would begin to unravel immediately. After entering the home, police came upon the bodies of slain parents Charles and Marilyn Long, both killed from apparent gunshot wounds. But miraculously, the 2 young children, despite suffering stab wounds and gunshot wounds, both showed signs of life and were immediately rushed to the nearest hospitals. And in a horrific turn of events, as the boy was being placed in the ambulance, he was able to speak, and he told police officers that it was his brother, Gideon, who had performed the attacks on the family. This was baffling to everyone, including law enforcement. They came from a large, loving family. They were known as sweet people who were very involved in their local church community. It didn't make sense someone would want to hurt them, especially their 12-year-old son. However, evidence was making it hard to prove it was anyone other than 12-year-old Gideon. Paramedics feared his young siblings wouldn't survive their wounds. The 9-year-old boy was shot 2 times and stabbed 6, while the 5-year-old girl had been stabbed several times and had her throat cut. It was nothing short of a miracle that they survived, and furthermore, were able to quickly identify their brother Gideon as the one who did it. It was reported that he had come from his room to the living area with his hand behind his back and, without warning, shot his mother in the head as she sat in a chair. He then shot his young brother as his brother yelled out, "Gideon shot Mom." After shooting his brother, he then made his way towards the back of the house where his father and young sister were trying to escape out the back. He fired several shots, one hitting his father in the upper torso, killing him. It was then that he brutally attacked his sister with a knife. When he thought he had successfully killed them, he made the 911 call. In the call, he tells the operator everyone's dead, but over the phone, she heard a yell from the 9-year-old boy. The next seconds are beyond horrific, as it is believed when Gideon went to check on the noise, it was then that he stabbed his brother, who was crying out. Police would find the murder weapons at the scene in the toilet with Gideon's prints on them. He would be taken to the station for questioning, and when police told him to just confess because they knew it was him, he reportedly said, "Prove it," because he believed that he killed his siblings and there was no way to tie him to the murders. This disturbing reaction to the deaths of family members was only the beginning of Gideon's bizarre disposition. Initially, family members refused to believe he could be responsible, but with the mountain of evidence, they were forced to accept the truth. His uncle Wally would say in interviews he visited Gideon in jail in the days following his rampage, but he didn't see any remorse or get any motive from him.
Just to show him as hard as it was for me to do, that people still love him. I know what he did, where he may have allegedly did was horrible, but I just wanted to show him a little care and concern, I guess.
And things would only get more frustrating for those that knew and loved the Long family. At the time of the murders, Gideon was 2 months shy of his 13th birthday. Not only was he a minor, but because he wasn't even 13 at the time, the prosecution elected to go the juvenile route in regards to his charges. So it's not surprising that due to the violence and clear premeditation and attempts to cover up the crime, people wanted to see him charged as an adult. But ultimately, the prosecution would declare that due to his age and emotional immaturity at the time, A 7-year sentence, followed by a 21-month probation period, was the appropriate punishment. Gideon showed no emotion in court except for the testimony from his older brother when he spoke about losing his parents and the uncertainty that Gideon didn't just do it for the thrill. But the twisted case of Gideon Long doesn't end there. It was baffling that he could murder 2 people and almost 2 others and only get 7 years. And in the year 2018, he was released back into the community of Burlington, Colorado. But just a short time later, in 2020, he was arrested for trying to buy a firearm. And if that's not scary enough, he lied on his application to get it. It was also brought to light that he had lied on various job applications. This pattern of lying frightened estranged family members that perhaps he wasn't rehabilitated and he could still be a danger to the community and the family specifically. His 2 younger siblings would make a recovery and be adopted by his Uncle Wally, and by all accounts remain strong in family and faith. However, there is no contact between Gideon and his family, as they never got any word from him on why this happened. He has never told of a motive. And as sensitive as this case is, because he was a minor at the time, the fact that he still has not spoken to his family about it doesn't sit well with me, and it makes me think that maybe he's not rehabilitated. And personally, even though he was only 12, the crimes were just so horrific that 7 years is just not enough. Tell me below in the comments what you thought about the punishment, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.